All right, welcome. This explainer comes straight from the research of Dr. Sudheendra S G, and it's really designed for you, the educators out there who are shaking minds every single day. We're about to explore a really powerful shift in the art of learning itself.
So, as we've been exploring how to master teaching and learning, we've come to what the research calls a prayag, like a sacred meeting point where rivers join. And right here, three huge streams are merging: our own mindset, how we understand what's true, and the very foundation that holds all learning together.
Now, these foundational structures have a name in Sanskrit: Avasthambam. Think of them as the pillars holding up the entire temple of learning. And here's why that's so important. Without them, even the coolest, most creative lesson plan can just fall apart. But with them, the knowledge you're sharing becomes strong, it connects, and it actually sticks with your students for life.
Okay, so these pillars aren't just some abstract ideas. They are practical, powerful frameworks for the mind. So let's start with the very first one, and honestly, this one could be the biggest game changer you bring into your classroom.
Here it is. The first pillar is the idea that everything is a game. Now hold on. This doesn't mean you need to turn your history class into an arcade. Not at all. It's about adopting a powerful mental model, a psychological frame that completely changes how we look at challenges, effort, and even failure.
So what actually happens inside a student's brain when they start to see learning as a game? Well, two pretty magical things happen that literally rewire their minds for growth. Let's look at the first one.
Just look at the incredible difference that one little word makes: yet. This is the first big shift. Thinking of learning as a game automatically pushes students from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A failed math test is no longer a final judgment on how smart they are. No way. It's just feedback. It's a sign that they need a new strategy, or maybe they just need to grind for some more experience points before they can beat this level.
And the second huge shift? It's all about control. When learning is a game, students stop feeling like pawns that just get moved around by tests, assignments, and grades. They become the players. They start to develop what psychologists call an internal locus of control. They realize, hey, I've got a say in this. Their moves, their strategies, they directly shape the outcome. They're not just being taught, they're shaping their own destiny.
And this right here is your superpower as a teacher: gamification. When you start framing your lessons with these kinds of mechanics, turning a difficult chapter into a boss battle, or handing out mastery badges for skills, you actively replace that fear of failure with the pure thrill of curiosity. The brain just snaps into that amazing state of flow, where students are hooked and learning actually sticks.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Gamification sounds like some trendy 21st century buzzword. But what's incredible is that this principle is ancient. I mean, its roots go so deep into the wisdom of India's epics, where the greatest skills were almost never taught with a lecture, but through incredible, masterfully designed games and challenges. I mean, think about Guru Dronacharya in the Mahabharata. He didn't stand up and give a long speech about archery theory. What did he do? He designed a high-stakes game: shoot the eye of a tiny wooden bird. That single challenge taught focus, patience, and self-control far better than any lecture ever could. It was a competition, a game that forged incredible discipline through play. Or what about the young Hanuman from the Ramayana? He basically treated the entire world like his personal playground. That legendary story of him leaping for the sun because he thought it was a giant fruit, that wasn't a formal lesson. It was just joyful, curious exploration. And it was exactly that playful spirit that built the courage and adaptability he'd need for all his epic quests later on.
And this wasn't just for warriors and heroes either, not by a long shot. As you can see, the highest levels of learning were structured just like games. The great philosophical debates, the Shastrathar, were like an intellectual sport where people sharpened their minds against each other. Even the super complex Vedic rituals were like cooperative games that demanded perfect memory and teamwork. The pattern is crystal clear. All across ancient India, the real path to mastery was through active, playful challenges.
Okay, so we've connected modern brain science to ancient wisdom. That's the why. Now let's talk about the how. It's time to bring this all home right into your classroom. Think of this as your next quest. Here's a simple 4-step way to start. First, create challenges. Turn that next chapter into a mission with clear goals. Second, reward progress along the way. Use points, maybe digital badges or fun titles. Celebrate the journey, not just the final exam. Third, spark some healthy competition. Just like Drona's contest, let students inspire each other to get better. And finally, simulate real quests.
Show them how the skills they're learning can solve actual, interesting, real-world problems.
From the archery grounds of ancient Hastinapura to the philosophy debates of the Upanishads, the wisdom is loud and clear. Learning just explodes when it's wrapped in play. You, as a teacher, hold that incredible power. You can turn every single lesson into a journey, every concept into a quest, and your classroom into a playground of mastery. So, the only question left is, are you ready to play?
Because the real truth, the ultimate takeaway of this pillar, is so hopeful. When learning becomes a game, every single student has a path to victory. It's not about who's the smartest anymore. It's about who's the most persistent. Winning is simply a matter of playing long enough to level up.